So we have to think more globally, but on the same level, we have to act locally in this sense. And here I come to civil society engagement. All newly industrializing countries, that's the good message, show above average increases in the proportion of renewable energies in their energy mix. Together with material development, there is growing sensitivity for climate-friendly technologies and infrastructure. If Germany and Europe do not seize this opportunity, the best energy concept does not work. So we have to think more globally, but on the same level, we have to act locally in this sense. And here I come to civil society engagement. The approval of bio, solar, and wind energy is not only due to its clean image, it's also equal to less centralized social structures, corporate organizations, and ways of working and living, which the British economist E.F. Schumacher described by the slogan, "Small is beautiful," in 1973. I think it's still true. If you are looking for approval of radical climate action, you should not only talk of prevention and mitigation goals, like nuclear power, no thanks, or zero greenhouse gas emissions. Civil society, in accord with the comprehensive change in values, has to discuss worldwide goals of good life. This is, if you like, a very neo-Aristotelian approach that I'm taking here, of good life that turns the necessary less power and calorie consumption, less air miles, for conferences like this one, less kilometer per year, less room temperatures, etc., into a plausible more quality of life and more life satisfaction, if you like, happiness. And this is enshrined in the American Constitution, the pursuit of happiness. And this doesn't mean increasing material values. In other words, what it is all about is not only preventing dangerous climate change and continuing the same path with renewable energies as a green business as usual, but a far-reaching transformation of society. Nobody has to fear this vision. It can be linked with the ongoing experiments and experience made by critical consumers who are testing alternative nutrition, intelligent mobility, and sustainable lifestyles on a day-to-day basis, and are teased abundantly for this. This is not a luxury sport for the rich either. Alternative consumption alone does not build a critical mass, nor does it endow political identity. We, the consumers, you may say we, the Tea Party, but not we, the consumers. But consumers and their associations are the underestimated giants of climate policies. They depend on the bundling and representation of their proposals on the parliamentary level, national and supranational, in order to achieve a feeling of self-efficacy. It's a different concept. The legislator has to integrate the manifold bottom-up approaches in a comprehensive innovation scenario with smart do's and do-nots, useful market incentives, and alternative technologies to back the consumer citizen's aspirations. The consumer citizen, this is the rhetorical figure to discuss. What is the consumer part and what is the citizen part? When the technologies are available and their financing seems possible, as I said, and at the same time there is a broad social consensus that much has to be changed, then the focus inevitably turns to the lack of willingness and competence of the political elites to deal with the readiness to protest and the demand for reforms. Traditional decision-making processes and aggregation of interests by parties and organizations, associations are based on paying membership, private and or public funding, and political parties and mass media communication. Even local politics usually are conservative and oriented towards their clientele. Professional politics have little understanding and intuition for citizen empowerment. Thus, people's parties of a new type, first of all, have to probe the pre-political terrain and do active field research in civil society. It's up to them to understand what we want. It's no longer that we have a kind of field participation before the TV screen. In the political field, there are both real and virtual communication societies are associations with requirements and modalities to the energy turnabout become concrete. Working teams and professional associations, sports clubs, volunteers, school classes and teacher colleagues, freelancers and retirees, and not least the web communities and the social media. Supposed non-political players of change operate on a small-scale level and push reforms forward. And mostly their activities are not related to ecological issues in the first hand, in a narrower sense, but rather on the improvement of labor organization, of educational practices, of geriatric care, and the like. It is neighborly help in everyday and emergency situations which shows possible objectives of good life, or drastically demonstrates the absence of the same. And here is the clue that I would like to come to, that we have to combine, to connect exactly the activists in our fields, the sleeping giant, which is a public already converted in terms of value change, but not ready to act because it feels like over-impressed by the massiveness of the tasks we have in front of us. And of course, those change agents in society who are dealing with different subjects but have the same objective, a better life. Typically, agents of change are not organized in bigger associations and for extended periods of time. Nonetheless, there are political entities, even if they are hardly interested in that kind of politics we know from the electronic media. In the third sector, in between government and market, a new globally oriented civil society movement can grow up. There is more consensus than ever about the importance and necessity of environmental policy and climate protection, and these issues do not lack positive objectives. The collective good that needs to be protected is not only nature or creation. It also consists in threatened freedom of the individual and the republic. The transformation of energy sector offers civil society more development opportunities than ever since the origins of the modern age and the beginnings of industrial revolution. Thank you very much for your attention.